Hello, everyone. Welcome to Life Out Loud with me, your host, Junie Moon. And I have an amazing guest. Of course, why wouldn't I have an amazing guest today? Brighid Murphy. She is an exceptional person that I've known for years. I can't wait to tell you about her. Before I do, I just want to let you know that the chat box is open. You can start asking questions. Let me know you're here. Share whatever you want. We're going to be looking there and getting a sense of what's going on there. You know, I'd like to know who's here, and if anything perks your interest and you're curious about something and you want to know more, we are open to your questions, and we're going to be looking at that. In fact, Brighid, if you want to write in the chat box, let us know you're here right now and press enter. This way, when people come on, they'll see that that we're open for business for questions. And I'm just thrilled to be able to be doing the show with all these just really juicy leaders that are really influencing people in the most beautiful ways, in my opinion. That's why they're on the show. And Brighid is definitely one of those people. I've known her for years. She is a light. She is a beautiful human being. And funny enough, I don't know much about her. I know her beingness. I've watched her beingness, this loving presence, this light. And so now it's like I get the opportunity to dive in with you guys to really find out the work that she does, the work that obviously influences how she is in life. And I also know that she touches many people with the work she does. So let me put her on the screen and let me tell you a little bit about who she is. So Brighid is a healer. She is an intuitive, a teacher, and a mentor. She creates solid containers that facilitate healing, and she empowers people to access their own light. During this powerful time on the earth, Brighid recognizes that people and the planet are ready for a new paradigm of possibilities. That sounds good, right, guys? Through her work, she discovered that in order to thrive, we need to transform our relationships, including those with dis-ease and illness. And her own journey and healing process has invited her into creating a relationship with the medicine that facilitates change. So welcome, Brighid. I'm so thrilled you're here.
Thank you, Junie. Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. So, you know, one of the things when I was reading about you and talking to you, this journey of yours has started at a very young age for you. In fact, you said you were called to, well, actually, let me use your language, that you recognized your purpose at a very young age, and that through your journey and your connection to spirit, which you continue to foster, you're able to do the work that you do and able to create these containers for people for healing and growth. So how about we start at the very beginning and you tell us a little bit about your journey and what's shaped you? How did you get to be who you are today?
Yes. Thank you. It's interesting. The awareness of my journey continues to unfold. My memories of being tapped into something that's way bigger than just me. My conscious memories of that are as a teenager. And so I remember distinctly waking up one day at about 16 or 17 and understanding on a really core level that something on the planet was wrong. Something needed to change on the planet. And I wasn't really sure what that meant, but I knew that I recognized this and I needed to do something about that. And so at 16, I began to become aware of what can I do to make the planet a better place. So at 16, it was becoming a vegetarian and making sure that I paid attention to recycling and cleaning up the world. And from there, as I developed as a human being, I became more aware of how I could help people on the planet. I had been helping people from when I was probably 11 or 12.
Mm.
I was always the go-to person as a young person in my tribe of young people. And as I grew, that continued to grow. I continued to be the go-to person and would find myself helping everyone in my life. And so that continued to take shape and take form. And right around the same time, at about 17 or 18, I went through my own crisis in my life, in my emotional life and in my mental life, that really moved me towards connecting with spirit. And once that started to happen, the crisis ended and a whole another world opened up for me to explore.
Got it. Yeah, we shamanic. I do shamanic because though I don't call myself a shaman, the work I do, the shadow work, I definitely see as a shamanic transformational tool.
Yes.
Us people, healers or transformative agents, tend to have gone through some dark nights of the soul that opened us up to more awareness and more connection to spirit, and that's what I'm hearing from you. And so how do you foster that connection with spirit? Because that was one of the things that you said you continue to do, and I'm assuming that, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that is one of your biggest tools for staying as grounded as you are.
Yes. I ask questions and I create the space for the answers to come. So I spend time quietly each day listening. I also spend time in my joy, allowing myself to be silly, allowing myself to be happy, because that vibration is a fine vibration that draws more of it. It draws love, it draws answers, it draws a connection to the bigger world. So I think those two things would be my first answer. Spending time asking questions and asking questions allows us to be in relationship, because when you ask a question, the answer naturally starts to come. So whether you're asking a question from a friend or asking a question of spirit or asking any question, if you ask and then listen, the answer starts to come. So that's part of my practice.
And what you just said was so key, which is the listening part, right? Because we could ask questions, we could be on our knees going, help me, I need direction, or talking to someone to get support in some way. But if we don't have the ability to just be quiet, hold our energy, and be able to receive what it is that they're offering, or to be able to hear, the quiet messages from above, we miss out. So one of the things I was talking to you about before we got on the show was, you always seem so grounded. You always seem so solid and still. And what I'm hearing is just these two tools adds to that. It creates a strong foundation to be able to listen, that you sit quietly, that you let yourself go to joyful places so that your vibration of that is experienced and expanded. And I'm curious for our listeners, what else might you offer to our viewers, listeners, about how they can create space for themselves? Because not everybody does that, and it's not necessarily an easy thing for people to just start. So I'm curious, what might you, with the viewers and the people that you work with, how do you lead them into the beginning of creating that stillness and that awareness?
Yes. I first would like to say that I am a very grounded person. And when I am talking to people, I'm quiet and I'm steady. I also can be really loud and excited. So I think that it's just good to share that you can be all of those things.
Great.
And that being grounded does not mean that you're boring. It doesn't mean that you're quiet all the time. It doesn't mean that you're not able to connect out and go out far. It actually allows you to go out further. The more grounded you are, the further you can go out and then have a safe place to come back to. So
Let me add to that, because I
sure.
totally get what you're saying. I mean, it's about creating this foundation of groundedness that allows us to be wild and big and free. And what I see in you is that center. You know, I've seen you play, I've seen you be silly and have that big energy. I've been blessed to see you in lots of different aspects of who you are as a human being, which is what we're hoping to create here, is the fullness and richness of our experience of a human being. And so to have that center, that focus, that ability to step into all of that, we need to have a practice. We need to have some sort of grounding practice. And so if you want to share more about what that is for you, or maybe, and in addition, not even maybe, but in addition, what might sometimes challenge you even in your life to stay the grounded, centered, if you find that to happen.
Yes. I find that I need a lot of alone time. I'm someone who needs to have a lot of time where I am not stimulated by the outside world. So I take a lot of that time, and that helps me to be grounded. It's definitely a practice. It's something that I work on over time. And it's the effects of being grounded and connected and centered are cumulative. So when I first learned how to consciously ground and center myself, I was working with my teachers, and we did a grounding and a centering exercise, and I didn't feel anything. I thought, I don't know what's supposed to be happening here. So, but I just kept doing it. And I noticed over time that I felt a lot more connected. And so what I'm about to share with you is something that you can utilize all the time. And the more you do it, the more it helps you, your whole being. Yeah.
You know, this is live. I never know exactly where we're going to go. And we're into tools, and we're into how to be, and grounding and foundation. And we still, we didn't even start with, I'm sorry, dropped paper. We didn't even really start with, you know, what is shamanic medicine? What is it that you actually practice and share with your people, with the people that are looking for this healing? So maybe tell us a little bit about really what that is.
Absolutely. Yeah. So in shamanic practice, I create openings for something new to happen. I do it for myself in my own practice, for my clients, for my students, creating an opening so that something new can happen. Sometimes that's healing, sometimes that's learning, sometimes it's a little bit of both. So that's what a snapshot of what I do with people is I create something new. I create an opportunity, an opening for something new to happen. We live in a world where there are many dimensions and many realities. And a shamanic practitioner is trained to be able to have insight into other realities. And so I use that insight and that way of being for myself and for other people. And so there's often influences. There's often things that influence us that we can't see. There's things that influence us all over the place throughout all times and spaces. And one of the things that a shamanic practitioner is trained to do is to be able to shift their focus, move into a slightly altered state, and receive information from the places that we can't normally see. So that's a little bit of what I do in my shamanic practice. I am trained, experienced, and practiced in some techniques that people may know or be familiar with that are part of shamanic practice. Those techniques are soul retrieval, calling the energy back, calling your energy back when it's lost or fragmented, extraction work, which is helping to pull out things that might get stuck in our energy fields, helping someone to connect with their allies and their spirit helpers, their beings in the invisible realm. Those are all things that I help people, that I do when I help people. But
go
ahead. No. You go. No,
you. I'm just curious, when does somebody know that they need what you have? Like, how does somebody know that they need a shamanic support, or somebody like yourself that can kind of ride between the worlds and and get that information and open up to the possibilities? How do people know?
Yes. So sometimes they don't, but when they do, they typically, they are struggling with something that they cannot find a remedy for. Oftentimes my clients have been to medical doctors, they've been through therapy, they've done a lot of self-development and self-help, and still there's something that they can't move past. They don't understand why this is happening, why they have this pain, or what is going on. And so usually folks come to me when they have exhausted other possibilities, when their intuition just knows there's something they're going to get out of working with me. Like I have a woman that I'm working with now who really has no idea what shamanic medicine is. She really doesn't, she's never experienced it before, but she just knows that the kind of change that's going to happen is something that she wants in her life. And so people can have, not have an exact understanding of this work and be drawn to it. But that goes off the topic. How do they know they need it? They know they need it because they are lacking in something and or cannot find the remedy elsewhere. And that's when shamanic work comes in. Well, shamanic work comes in all the time, but usually people find holistic practitioners when they've tried a lot of other mainstream modalities that don't work.
Yeah. And I know a bunch about shamanism through the years, but I'm assuming there are a lot of people that actually don't. And so when I think about what someone like yourself offers, there's how do I put it? There's like this tapping into other realms of energy and working with their body to help them integrate in some way. I mean, I don't want to talk for you. I'd actually like you to maybe get, like, I've heard you say soul retrieval. I understand that, but people be like, soul retrieval? What does that mean? Energy work. How do you literally work with someone who has physical ailments, but they don't understand why? Or they're stuck in their life, maybe in a relationship that's abusive, or they're looking for a new love, but they can't seem to open up to it, and they're stuck in some way. What are some of the opportunities from a shamanic perspective that you offer people? How might that even look?
Well, the first piece is that I believe in people's ability to heal themselves. I believe that everyone has what they need inside them. Sometimes they just need a flashlight shown on it. Everyone has what they need to heal themselves. And I believe in people's light. I believe in the goodness of people, and I believe that the answers are inside. I help people to find the answers that are inside. And what happens is we get caught in a rut when we're looking for answers. We're looking for answers from here, and we're looking for them oftentimes on the same plane where we look to fix something on the same dimension where it was created. And so in order to get a different angle or get the bird's eye view for healing, we need to take a step back and we need to take a different approach. So the first thing that I do with people is I talk with them about where they want to be. Really common for people to want to tell me what's wrong.
Right.
And my approach.
I think that's so funny. The same thing happens with us as a shadow worker. What do you want to have happen? Well, I don't want this, and I don't want this, and I don't want this. And if you don't have it, what might you want?
Yes. And it's so important to tap into where you want to be, because that accesses the rest of what that accesses helps you to access your medicine. It helps you to access the power inside of you to make change. Wanting it to go away, worrying about what's happening, that doesn't help us to access anything. Reaching out and towards what we want and letting it pull us towards it is what helps to make things change. So that's the first thing that I do. I actually help people to tap into their future and start pulling it towards them. A lot of folks aren't quite used to that, and it takes a little while to get used to. But whenever you're healing, or looking to change something that is happening, you need to look at things from a different direction, and you need to trust and take a risk. And so that's what a lot of my clients do, is they trust me to take them on a journey where they don't understand how they're going to get where they want to go, but they trust the process. And that's usually when healing occurs, is when you trust the process.
What happens when you have someone who has big trust issues or really big challenges just around taking the risk? I mean, people have so much fear running through them, and they're scared, and they've been hurt by practitioners. They can have experiences in their life that are really painful. And I know that, there are certain tools that I have to help people move past those risks. How do you create a space for people to go, okay, I'm going to let Brigid guide me, even though I'm scared?
Yeah. Well, I explain to people what the process looks like to work with me, and that is helpful. That's a good question. Take
a moment if you need. Because sometimes people are not ready, I mean, and there might be a really good reason why they're not ready. They might have resistance for a very good reason. And it's like, how do we open them up to the possibility of something new,
Sometimes it takes a while. So I work with people where they're at. I have an incredible ability to tune into what's going on and to just intuit what's going to be helpful at any given time. So I use my intuition all the time. I do a lot of intuitive coaching, and I have a lot of different ways to ask questions and help people sit with their feelings. That I have a lot of ways to do that so that they can go at their own pace. Part of the beauty of shamanic work is that we're guided. We're guided by our allies and our guides. I have a strong relationship of over 15 years with the guides that I work with. And when people set an intention for what they want to do, and they, start to access the future self, everything that happens to get us there is in accordance with what is going to be for their highest well-being. So the process is tailored to them, and it's also, I really trust, after all these years of working and seeing and witnessing, that what comes through for a person is exactly perfect and right for them. And there's not anything that's ever too much. There's just change that happens. And sometimes change can be scary. And I let people know that right up front when I'm talking about, when we talk about the possibility of working together. I ask them lots of questions and we talk, but I also say, how do you feel about change happening? Because one thing I can tell you that will happen from this work is change. And if you're not ready for that, then don't work with me.
Right. Does
that answer your question?
It does, and you're answering lovely. I just keep thinking in my head, it's like, what else can we share with the people listening that they can get a sense of what shamanic medicine looks like? I'm hearing you help them identify what the future is, so the future can call them. I hear the creating space, and I hear some of the tools you've said that you use. So, like, if someone were to have an initial experience with you, is it hands-on? Is it a lot of meditation? All of the above? Can you give us a little sneak preview of what a session might look like for you, with you?
Sure, absolutely. So a session would look like we spend about 2.5 hours in a first shamanic session. And I've probably talked to them beforehand to let them know what we're going to be doing. But I tell them again, because the mind needs to be, reminded. So we talk, and then we sit and we open up the space. And anyone can open up space with intention. You don't need to be a shamanic healer or have anything. You can do this at any point in time. And that is taking a breath and opening up to more than what you are, inviting in your help and offering gratitude for the space that you're in, gratitude for your relationship with your guides. So that's a way to open up the space. But I sit and I have a drum that I play, and a frame drum. The frame drum helps us to move from one space to another. It also gives the brain something to have in the background while we do the work together. Shamanic people ride the rhythm or ride a sound. It could be the sound of their voice. It could be the sound of a drum or a rattle. They ride the rhythm to get from one state to another. So I sit with folks and I open up the space with intention. I have a practice of honoring the 7 directions: the north, the south, the east, the west, above, below, and within. And we open up the space and ask that we have access to the future and the past. So creating that opening, both energetically and intentionally and energetically, is what we do. And so we've opened up the space, and I have my personal practice of lighting a candle, making offerings, and we've gotten clear on their intention for where they want to be. And then I sit with them and I journey, and I ask, Junie Moon is wanting to stop biting her nails. I hope that's okay. We'll just do that for, so I would take that intention. I take that intention into the journey, and I ask what is going to be helpful for her to be able to stop biting her nails. It could be what is going to be helpful for her to step into the new job she wants, or anything.
Sure.
And then I'm given information that directly pertains to her intention and her goal. And sometimes that information is, she needs to incorporate a practice of spending time by the water every week. Or she needs to start communicating with her grandmother who might have passed. I get information that is that you can take home with you and start practicing in your life. Because the changes, and I'll go back to the rest of the session in a minute, change, only a certain amount of change happens in a shamanic session. The rest of the changes continue on through your life, and you can either nurture those changes or you can ignore them. Most people want to nurture those changes, and so they will they'll take the practices that are given through guidance, and they'll work with them in their life. So I'll get guidance on things for them to add into their life. And
I just want to say that I think that's a really important piece. There's a misconception, I think, about what healing is.
Yes.
I mean, yes, I believe strongly that some healing can happen in a heartbeat. Totally. Things can shift dramatically. Somebody has a reframe or sees something completely different, or an experience in their body, and things can change. And a lot of times we have an experience and we need to anchor it in, and we need to keep nourishing and supporting. It's kind of like the concept of chiropractic. It's like you have an adjustment and you think it's over. No, you go out there and you live, and you're lifting things and you're putting your body in different positions.
Yes.
You need some sort of maintenance. And so I hear that this is, if people really want to have this sustainable change, that there's a consciousness about it. There's an awareness about it. There's a journey of supporting it along the way. And so I hear that you help them with that.
Yes. And there's a lot of things that can shift automatically and instantly with a shamanic session. And then there's things that happen along the way that you recognize afterwards. I have a lot of clients that call me after the first session. I don't just do one session with folks. Because there needs to be follow-up and integration. So I do a few sessions.
Totally.
And after the first session, oftentimes people will email me or call me and say, hey, I experienced this in the session, but I didn't understand it. And now I totally get it. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So we need there to be space so that we can open up to get to consciously to integrate what has happened in that session.
That's great. That's great.
So yes, so I will be given, if there's, okay, we'll go back to your nail biting. If we're working on your nail biting, and the nail biting comes from something that happened to you, like if you started nail biting at age 7, and age 7, something happened, you were bullied at school, or something happened to create a disruption in your energy field and in your psyche, I will be not knowing, I don't know about what happened at 7. I'll be shown you at 7 years old, and I will be given an image of what's happening to you at 7 and what we can do to arrange the outcome of that situation so that you're no longer carrying the trauma or the imprint from that situation. So I basically am shown to go back into time and allow love to flow through at a time where there wasn't a lot of love coming through, where maybe there was some constriction. And so from that, we heal the part that was disrupted, and then we bring that part back and offer it to you. And so that's usually done with, so I'll journey and I will do that's called soul retrieval, that work. And then I'll be instructed on how to bring that energy back to you in the now time to connect you. And oftentimes I will blow the energy into the heart or into the hands, and you'll bring it into yourself. And then I'm usually given instruction on how to have you nurture your relationship with your 7-year-old.
Yeah.
Energy doesn't come back unless there's a home for it. So if I'm instructed to bring energy back for you, I'm also instructed on how you can create and nurture a relationship with that energy.
I love that. I think that's so beautiful and amazing, and such an overlap with what we do in shadow work.
Yes.
I mean, I love that you're doing this journey and you're going to retrieve and blow the essence in, and then creating the space for them to nourish and nurture that 7-year-old. You know, with shadow work, same thing. It's like, okay, we have this behavior, we have this experience that's going on in their present life. Where did it come from? Where was the original trauma? What was the experience? I don't do the journeying. They're doing the journeying. It's a different way of doing it. But at the same time, it really is about finding that initial wounding place. You know, that an initial message that we got and an experience that made us do whatever it was to get through, to feel safe, to feel love, whatever it is. And then to shift it, whether you're doing your work or I'm doing my work, but then to create that relationship so that they can honor that part, to nourish that little girl or little boy that so needs it. Yeah. Oh my God, that's beautiful. I love that, Brighid. I just want to just say hello to some people here. I'm hoping my chat is working. I see Cynthia from Athens. Hello, Cynthia. I see Star and Kareen, Becky, Shining Bear Heart. Hello, Elise. I think those are the only ones that have checked in. I'm kind of wondering if my chat is still rolling, but I think so. If anyone has any questions, now's the time. We still have some time. Brighid, I just want to also plant to see Brigid's going to be offering something really, really cool at the end of our show. It's a special treat for you guys, an opportunity to work with her, and it's a gift. And so hang in there till the end to find out. And one of the other things I wanted to offer you guys is an experience with Brighid right now, because right before we got on our show, you know, she's like solid woman, you know, fat, you know, she's like, you know, like I'm looking at her going, oh my God, she's so still and solid. And I get excited, you know, that's my nature. I have this energy, you know, and I'm like, you know, I could use a little bit more of that right now. I said, what do you do? What do you do with people that are, the energy's rising? And I have my own tools, but here I had this shaman woman in front of me. I'm like, take me on a journey. And she did this beautiful grounding meditation with me. And I thought it might be nice for you to experience it. So Brighid, would you like to
absolutely
bring people along on a journey for them?
Sure.
Great.
And this is something that you can do in an instant and you can do easily. You don't have to do it right. There's actually no way to do it right. You can't do this wrong. Even if your mind is wandering, you begin to train your mind and your body the minute you begin any sort of a practice. So the first thing I would say is to just imagine the space above your head as open. Imagine there's an opening above your head, and you can close your eyes or lower your eyes for this. It's whatever you would like to do. Imagine that there is an opening above your head. Oftentimes when we are stressed out, we become pressure cookers, and we need to just let some of the pressure off. We can do that by opening. So we open the space above our head and let the sun come through. Just imagine that the warm rays of the sun are moving through the top of your head and cascading all through your body. And then the next thing to imagine or sense or think about is opening up the bottoms of your feet so that your energy flows through to the earth and the earth energy flows up to you. This practice instantly lets the steam out of any situation because we are opening up to more than we are, and that's usually where the answers are, when we create an opening. Then we're going to just take a few breaths and create the intention to drop into the earth. As you inhale and exhale, allow your exhalation to drop you down through your belly into the earth. Almost as if your breath, in addition to coming out of your nose and mouth, goes down and moves out through the bottom of your body and feet. So our energy is easily and effortlessly connected to the earth. And if you have another way to practice connecting with the earth, add this to it or do that instead. There's no right or wrong way to do this. So you're open to the energy above, you're open to the energy below, and the energy in the middle can flow freely, and that's you, the in-between. Bring your focus into your belly. You can put your hand on your belly if you'd like, or just bring your centered awareness into your stomach. And then see a little flame there, a little flame that begins to grow with your breath. You might see it as yellow, flickering with orange, maybe a little hint of blue or green. Feel, sense, or imagine that that flame is starting to grow. With each inhalation and exhalation, it pulsates and grows taller and wider. That flame grows beyond the top of your head and goes down into the earth. And once it's tall, allow it to become wide. Allow that flame to expand into a pillar that's warm and radiant and expanding out through your body, out into your personal space and your energy field. So you're grounded, you're centered, you're open to possibilities, and your light, your inner light, is shining bright. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
That was great.
One of the important things for us right now, and always, but particularly right now on our planet, is for us to be in command of our own personal energy so that we can go out in the world and do our work and do what we need to do and not fall over from it. So when you are grounded and centered and shining your light, it eliminates the need to put up heavy shields. Because when you are bright from the inside out, anything that comes towards you that is not a match for you melts away in the light or moves through. When we create resistance and hard shields, we're actually creating a barrier. When we create a barrier, we're creating a resistance to the things we don't want. And it's so much easier to just be strong and shine and let what we don't want move through. And you don't have to fight with the things that you don't like because they just lose their relevance.
So I'm noticing the time. I always we just never have enough time. You have an offer to give them, and we have questions that are piling in.
Sure. Yeah.
So let's see if we can get through the questions quickly, but with richness, and then I want you to let them know how, what it is that you're offering. So Corrine has a question I think might be a relatively quick question, which is, does shamanic medicine utilize the chakra system, maybe under another name for healing? Is that a quick answer?
Probably not. I think it would depend on where your shamanic training is sourced from. Not all continents and cultures work with a chakra system. So if you work with the chakra system, then it would come through in that way. Mm-hmm. People often come to me and they want to have their chakras cleared. Your chakras are naturally aligned and balanced when your whole being is whole. So chakra alignment is part of what happens when you come into alignment, but it's not necessary for healing to occur.
Okay, and I'm just curious because I'm kind of new to this tech stuff. I have another question for you, but it almost looks like there's another one above it and I can't read it. So let's start with Stacy's real quickly. Okay. She would love to know more about your process of finding yourself as a shaman doing healer work.
Yeah. The process. Well, boy, that's certainly a long story.
Maybe another whole interview.
Right. Well, the short version of it is that I was called to a healing path at a very early age. I learned to soothe myself when I was a toddler. I learned to soothe myself with rhythm and sound. And so that started very early on. And I didn't consciously understand what was happening at that point in time. It's only now as an adult that I can put it all together. As a young child, I would have out-of-body experiences, and they were normal to me. And so the story goes on of a lot of different experiences that I had. I have and always been always helped people. And when I met my teachers, and Becky Shining Bearheart is one of my teachers. She's on our, thank you for being here, Becky. Yeah, she's on our cast here. She's wonderful. She's an amazing teacher. When I met her, she showed me how to open the door even further. And so I began to train with her and connect more deeply to my guides. I created a connection with them, a relationship with them that grew. And so from there, all sorts of information came through. And what I teach people is how to find their medicine within themselves, how to access that. You do not need to be a shaman. You don't need to be a healer in order to use these techniques and tools to help yourself.
Okay, so thank you. I want you to let everyone know about your sweet gift to them. I'm going to put the link in the box, but please give them the exact link too, because the replays sometimes don't have the box showing. Okay?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, and I love to work with people, and I love to help people to begin to access the parts of themselves that they haven't been able to access. So I'm offering a bonus session.
You're giving sex bonus? Yeah, right. I told you it was a juicy.
What do they do here? It's an access to your medicine bonus session. So it's a session where we get together, and this can be in person or on the phone. I do a lot of distance work with people all over the country, so being on the phone is pretty normal. We can do a lot on the phone. And so it's a session where we tap into where you want to go. We talk about how to get there, what might be in the way, and we start calling it in so that the vibration of what you want is activated. And what I find is when you work with a healer or a shadow worker, somebody who brings through and creates openings for other people, we don't have any resistance to what our clients want. We hold them in joy, we hold them in love, and we don't have any emotional baggage that would prevent us from getting them where they need to go. So what we do as practitioners is we magnify and boost the signal for what a person wants. So when they dial in what they want and begin to call it in, there's no resistance on my end or your end, and things can be called in pretty easily with a session like that. So that's what I'm offering. That's a little bit of the long version, but an Access Your Medicine bonus session where I spend time dialing in where you want to go and starting to call it in and giving you practices to continue dialing it in.
Yeah.
Or not continue activating it. Yes.
Great, great. And the link I put in the chat box, but for everybody, it's spiritworkshealingarts.com, which is her website. And then you add a / Junie Moon / / and then you could access this great offering and experience this beautiful woman's work. Anything else you want to share before we close this segment, dear one?
There's so much I want to share, but I think what I really want to share right now is to let people know that they have a choice, and that they can choose to allow things to be easy. We often have an intimate relationship with struggle, and we can change that relationship by allowing things to be easy. Yeah. Doesn't mean we won't have challenges. Challenges are good. They help us to grow. But changing our relationship with struggle, and it's going to be hard and nobody's going to help me, and opening up to receive new things by saying like, hey, it can be easy.
Yep. I think that's a great question, a great offering. And so I'm going to add to that and ask everyone that's listening and watching, you know, what might get in the way of you actually allowing yourself that way of thinking, you know, that things can be easy. What keeps you from thinking things are easy? You know, sometimes we focus on all the things that aren't working, and it's like this perpetual heaviness and challenge in life. And so what might happen if you actually started thinking and experiencing that things don't have to be so hard, that things can actually come to you with ease, if you could really own that belief, because it's just a belief just like the other one, but boy, your life changes when you really resonate with that flow, that things can come to you and everything you need is right here, that abundance consciousness. So just something for y'all to think about, like, what might really happen if you actually allowed that belief to take hold? And we are at time. Gosh, this was so great, Brigid. It was so great sharing time with you. I adore you. And I love that you got to share with people what it is you do, at least a taste of it. And my goodness, this woman has so much skill. Go to her website, read more about all the different offerings she has, because she's got programs and so many different things, ways to access these amazing tools that she has. And thank you so much for being here on the show with me, Brigid.
Thank you, Junie. Thank you.
You are welcome. And thanks everyone for being here. Tell your friends about Life Out Loud with Junie Moon. And blessings to everyone. Goodbye, everyone.
To everyone.